Welcome back to the deep dive, where we extract the science from the strategy. Today, we are cracking open what feels like a really tough nut, motivating a sales force. It's complicated stuff. I love this quote from Katharine Graham. It kind of sets the stage. To love what you do and feel that it matters, how could anything be more fun? That's the dream, right?
It absolutely is. But getting a whole team there, especially when they face rejection daily,
Yeah.
that takes more than just cheerleading. It's applied behavioral science.
So let's nail down the core concept right away.
Okay, the big idea is this. All motivation is really self-motivation. Managers, we're catalysts. We don't create the desire.
So our job is to find it, understand it, and then what? Point it in the right direction.
Exactly. Identify the motivation that's already there in your salespeople,
Hmm.
understand their individual needs, and then channel that energy towards the company's, strategic goals.
All right. So our mission for you listening today is to unpack those behavioral theories, Maslow, expectancy, equity, and look at the practical tools, both money and non-money tools that turn that inner drive into real, focused efforts.
Persistence. Don't forget persistence. Plus, we need to talk about why this specific job, selling, is just uniquely difficult to motivate people for. It really is different.
Okay. Section 1, the foundation. Let's define motivation properly. It's not just like feeling peppy, is it?
No, not at all. The research is clear. Motivation is that desire to expend effort because you need to fulfill some kind of aroused need. Could be physiological, like hunger, or psychological security, recognition, prestige.
It's that fundamental human wanting something.
That's it. That's the engine.
And when someone acts on that, the effort they put in isn't just one thing. It has layers, right? 3 dimensions.
3 key dimensions, yeah. First, intensity. How much gas are they putting in the tank? How hard are they actually working on a task?
Okay, sheer effort level.
Second, persistence. How long do they keep pushing? Do they call that tough prospect back for the 6th time or give up after 2? Super critical in sales.
And the third one, this seems like the really strategic part. Choice or direction?
Absolutely crucial. This is about making sure the effort is pointed the right way. Are they working hard on the right things?
Like if the company's strategy shifts to bigger clients, but the rep keeps hammering away intensely and persistently at the small ones?
Then all that intensity and persistence is actually counterproductive.
Yeah.
It works against the plan. So a manager's job often isn't just get them to work harder, it's get them to work smarter,
Yeah.
to aim that effort correctly.
Which leads us right into why motivating salespeople is, well, harder than motivating maybe an accountant or someone on an assembly line. What makes it so tough?
Well, a few big things stand out. First, the sheer amount of rejection. It's just baked into the job. Even the superstars here know, constantly.
Yeah, and they deal with difficult customers, right? Demanding, sometimes rude.
Exactly. So they need a lot more external validation, more reinforcement just to stay level compared to many other jobs. Plus, there's the isolation factor. They're often out there alone, traveling, away from the team, away from direct support.
So they need strong inner drive, but also really depend on the company's systems for encouragement.
Precisely. And that ties into the last point. Salespeople are individuals. What motivates one person, say, public recognition, might do nothing for someone else who's focused purely on financial security.
Meaning a one-size-fits-all approach just won't cut it?
It's bound to fail for a chunk of your team. You need a flexible motivational mix, something adaptable, even though you can't realistically create a totally custom plan for every single person.
Okay, let's get into the science behind those needs. Section 2, Maslow and Herzberg. We mentioned that loop. Effort leads to performance, which leads to reward.
Right, and for that loop to work, 3 conditions have to be met. If any link breaks, the motivation just fizzles out.
What are the links?
1, the rewards have to be desirable. They need to actually satisfy the need the salesperson feels. 2, the salesperson has to believe, truly believe, that performance is actually linked to getting those rewards.
Okay, so no empty promises.
None. And 3, they have to believe the performance goal itself is achievable. If they look at the target and think that's impossible, well, they won't even start. Why would they?
Makes sense. Let's bring in Maslow's hierarchy. We know the pyramid: physiological, safety, social, esteem, self-actualization. How does this help us differentiate rewards in sales?
It helps us split rewards into 2 buckets. You've got extrinsic rewards, the stuff the company gives you. Paychecks, bonuses, maybe a nice watch, a plaque on the wall.
Tangible things.
Tangible things provided externally. Then you have intrinsic rewards, These come from inside the person, from doing the job itself. That feeling of accomplishment, nailing a huge presentation, cracking a tough account.
And then the manager's role is to use those extrinsic tools to tap into the higher needs on Maslow's ladder.
Exactly. For esteem, you use public recognition. Think title changes, maybe a feature in the company newsletter, formal awards, even just sincere public praise.
And for the top level, self-actualization.
That's about growth. Offering advanced training, letting them mentor newer reps, giving them lead roles on special projects, increasing their autonomy, things that let them stretch and grow.
Okay, so Maslow gives us a ladder of needs. How does Herzberg's dual factor theory compare? It sounds like it divides things differently.
It does. Herzberg splits factors into two distinct groups, not just higher versus lower. He talks about hygiene factors and motivation factors.
Hygiene, like keeping things clean.
Sort of. Hygiene factors are the basics, mostly Maslow's lower order stuff. Company policy, decent supervision, working conditions, base salary. If these aren't adequate, people become dissatisfied. But here's the key. Making them adequate doesn't motivate people to excel. It just stops them from being unhappy.
Okay. So having a good boss and fair pay doesn't necessarily make me want to crush my quota, just makes me less likely to look for another job.
You got it. To get that extra effort, that drive for high performance, Herzberg says you need the motivation factors. These are the higher order things. Recognition, responsibility, challenging work, opportunities for growth and achievement.
This really helps clarify the role of pay, doesn't it? It seems to fit in both categories.
It does, and that's a crucial nuance. Your base salary, that's mostly a hygiene factor. If it's too low, you're unhappy, maybe you leave. But commissions, bonuses, raises tied directly to outstanding performance.
Those feel like recognition, like achievement.
Exactly. So those can act as powerful motivation factors. It's all about how the pay is structured and perceived. Is it just keeping you afloat, or is it rewarding excellence?
Right. Moving on from needs to section 3, belief systems, expectancy theory. This feels central. Do reps actually believe the whole system works?
It's all about belief. Expectancy theory is built on conditional links. Will my effort lead to better performance? If yes, will that performance actually lead to the rewards I want? And are those rewards even worth the hassle?
If any of those belief links are weak.
The motivation drops instantly. Why pour in the effort if you don't believe it'll pay off in a way you value?
This ties into something really surprising we found in the research, this big perception gap.
Oh yeah, that survey was eye-opening. It asked employees what they valued most in a job, and then asked managers what they thought their employees valued most.
And the results were way off, weren't they? What did the employees actually rank highest?
Employees put interesting work and appreciation of work done right at the top.
Okay, intrinsic stuff, fulfillment, recognition. What did the managers think the employees wanted most?
The managers guessed compensation and job security.
Wow. That's not just a gap, that's a chasm. Managers are focused on extrinsic safety nets while employees are saying, hey, make my work meaningful and tell me when I do a good job.
It's a huge disconnect. And it tells you that if your motivational strategy is purely focused on pay and security, you're likely missing what really drives a lot of your team. You've got to incorporate genuine recognition and try to make the work itself more engaging.
And closely related to the value of rewards is whether the whole system feels fair. That brings us to equity theory.
Fairness is huge. People are constantly, almost subconsciously, comparing themselves to their peers. They look at their own inputs, their effort, their skills, their time and their outputs, pay, bonuses, recognition.
And they compare that ratio to what they see their colleagues getting.
Exactly. And if they perceive an imbalance, wait, she's working less than me but got the same bonus, or he got that promotion and I don't see why, that feeling of inequity is incredibly demotivating.
What happens then?
Effort drops, intensity goes down, or they might start looking for the door. Perceived fairness is absolutely fundamental for keeping people engaged long-term.
Okay, so they need to believe the rewards are fair and achievable. But there's also that link between effort and performance. It's not just about working harder, is it? It's about working smarter.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
That ties back to the direction dimension we talked about. A manager needs to make sure reps understand which specific activities actually lead to better results. Just telling someone hit the phones harder isn't helpful if they're calling the wrong people or using a flawed pitch.
They need accurate perceptions of cause and effect.
Yes. And this links to how people explain their own successes and failures, what psychologists call attributions.
Right. The research listed things like ability, effort, strategy, how tough the task was, and just plain luck. How does blaming failure on one of these affect what a rep does next?
It's critical. If a rep fails and thinks, okay, my strategy was wrong, they're likely to adjust their presentation or their targeting. That's productive.
But what if they blame it on, say, lack of ability? I'm just not cut out for this.
Ideally, that should lead them to seek training or coaching. But sometimes, maybe out of pride or misdiagnosis, they might just try to compensate by pouring in more raw effort, working longer hours, making more calls without fixing the underlying skill gap.
So the manager needs to step in and help diagnose the real reason for failure.
Yes, and guide the rep towards the right response. Don't let them mistake a need for better strategy or more training for just needing to grind harder. That leads to burnout.
Let's shift gears slightly in Section 4 to the job itself and how it changes over time. The nature of sales, being out there alone, dealing with customers, hitting quotas, creates stress. Talk about role theory.
Yeah, the unique structure of sales jobs often leads to significant role stress. Two key types are role ambiguity and role conflict.
Ambiguity is fuzziness.
Exactly. Reps are unclear about expectations. Do I have the authority to offer this discount? How much time should I really be spending on these market research reports corporate keeps asking for versus actually selling? This lack of clarity creates anxiety.
And role conflict.
That's being pulled in two or more opposing directions. The classic one is company versus customer. The company wants high margins. The customer wants a lower price. Or maybe conflicting demands from different departments, like sales pushing for a quick delivery that operations says is impossible.
Trying to serve two masters.
Right. And that kind of conflict is exhausting and demotivating.
So what's the solution? How do managers reduce this stress?
Clarity. Above all else, clarity. Clear, well-defined job descriptions, explicitly stated levels of authority, and using tools like management by objectives, MBO, where the manager and reps sit down and agree on specific, measurable goals together.
So setting clear expectations reduces stress and boosts performance.
Significantly. Less stress, more satisfaction, better results.
And this need for clarity is probably even more important because people's motivations change over their careers, right? Let's walk through those career stages.
Yeah, needs definitely evolve. In the first stage, exploration, reps are usually young, ambitious, very focused on achievement. They want opportunities to learn, grow, and advance. Training and clear career paths are key motivators here.
Okay, then they settle in.
Right, the establishment stage. They're committed to sales as a career. Often, this is when family responsibilities kick in more than just kids. So financial needs tend to jump up. Money, benefits become more central.
But not only money.
No, status and that intrinsic feeling of doing well still matter a lot. It's just that the financial pressures are often higher.
Then comes the maintenance stage.
Yeah, these are often your solid, experienced veterans. Performance might plateau somewhat. They aren't necessarily looking to climb the ladder anymore. For them, motivators shift towards job security, feeling valued and respected, maybe enriching their current role rather than changing it. Status enhancement is big here.
And the final stage.
Disengagement. This is usually nearing retirement. They're mentally starting to check out. Performance might dip. These can be the hardest reps to motivate.
So what works for them? They often have tons of experience.
You leverage that experience. Give them special projects, maybe mentoring roles, ask them to analyze competitors, things that make them feel their knowledge is still valuable and keeps them contributing, keeps them engaged until they leave.
Okay, let's bring it all together in Section 5, the motivational mix. We need a blend, right? Financial and non-financial stuff.
Absolutely. You need the basics, good compensation, maybe bonuses, perhaps merchandise or travel incentives. But you have to balance that with the non-financial side. Recognition, making the job itself more interesting or challenging, and strong management support.
We saw some cool examples of non-cash financial incentives, those experience prizes.
Yeah, things like a trip to NASA Space Camp or flying in a T-6 fighter plane.
Yeah.
Stuff that's memorable, maybe a bit exclusive, something they couldn't easily arrange themselves. These can be incredibly powerful motivators beyond just cash value.
Let's talk sales contests. They're common for hitting short-term goals, but man, they seem risky.
They are definitely a double-edged sword. For them to work, the goal needs to be super specific and clear, move this product at X number of new accounts, but the absolute critical design element is equal opportunity.
Meaning?
If only your top 1 or 2 reps have a realistic shot at winning, everybody else mentally checks out on day 1. It kills morale for the majority.
So you need tiered contests or maybe quotas where hitting your individual target gets you something.
Exactly. Or reward the biggest improvement. Even better are open-ended contests. Everyone who achieves a certain preset benchmark gets the prize. No limit on winners. That keeps more people in the game.
But even designed well, there are downsides. Reps might push customers to overbuy or pull sales from the next quarter just to win now.
Oh yeah, undesirable tactics are a huge risk, and you'll often see a slump right after the contest ends. Plus, the people who don't win can feel pretty demoralized.
That Majestic Plastics case study you mentioned really highlights the fairness dilemma. Remind us what happened there.
Right. So this rep, Wally Thomas, lands this massive order for a new product just hours before the contest deadline. Wins the grand prize, $15,000. Huge deal.
Okay, sounds great for Wally.
Except, right after the contest officially ended, the customer returned the entire shipment. Unopened. They'd clearly just ordered it to help Wally win, or Wally pressured them into it temporarily.
Oh, wow. So the company got zero revenue, Wally got the cash, and the rest of the team saw this happen.
Exactly. So who does the prize really belong to? Wally technically met the contest rules, secured the order by the deadline. But Bud Cowan, maybe a more consistent ethical performer, got nothing and probably felt cheated. It completely undermines the idea of fairness and long-term value.
It really shows how careful you have to be with contests. They can backfire badly.
Terribly. Which is why leaning on non-financial motivators is often safer and builds better long-term morale.
Things like
Recognition clubs, President's Club, that sort of thing. Honor awards, pins, special titles. But honestly, the simplest, cheapest, and often most effective tool.
just saying good job.
Just genuine, specific, personal encouragement and praise from the manager. It costs nothing, and it directly hits those higher-level esteem needs we talked about with Maslow. Don't underestimate its power.
Okay, last section, section 6. Ongoing challenges. Let's tackle the plateaued salesperson. That experienced rep, maybe 40s or 50s, who's kind of stopped improving but might still handle key accounts.
Yeah, this is a really common and difficult situation. Performance is leveled off. They're not really striving anymore, but they might be holding on to important relationships. Managers often hesitate to push them too hard for fear of losing the account or the rep entirely.
What usually causes plateauing?
The number one reason is often a perceived lack of upward mobility. They feel like they've hit a ceiling in the company, there's nowhere else to go. Sometimes it's boredom, the challenge is gone. Or they're simply satisfied with their current income level.
So if they're happy with their pay, offering more money isn't the answer. Why not just manage them out? Seems easier sometimes.
It might seem easier, but the cost can be huge. They often have deep institutional knowledge and customer relationships that took years, maybe decades, to build. Losing them can mean immediate, significant revenue loss and disruption.
So retaining them is usually better if possible. How do you re-engage them?
You need to spot the signs early. Less prospecting, maybe taking more time off, less engagement in meetings. Then intervene with creative assignments that introduce variety and challenge without necessarily being a promotion.
Like what kinds of assignments?
Use their expertise. Have them mentor new hires. Assign them to do a deep dive analysis on a key competitor. Maybe give them a special project lead or even move them to manage a different type of territory for a while.
Yeah.
The goal is job enrichment, making the current job more engaging.
Okay, so dealing with individuals is key, but custom plans for everyone are impractical. This brings us to the idea of Salesforce segmentation as a practical approach.
Exactly. Segmentation is the realistic middle ground. Instead of one blanket program or 50 individual ones, you group your salespeople based on shared characteristics or needs.
Like grouping by career stage, or maybe by product specialty.
Precisely. Group them by career stage or experience level, or maybe the types of accounts they handle. Then you tailor the motivational mix, the compensation elements, the types of recognition, the level of supervision for each segment. It lets you be more targeted than a blanket approach, without the impossibility of full customization.
Right. So wrapping up this deep dive, it feels like the science is clear. Effective motivation isn't guesswork. It's about really understanding individual needs using theories like Maslow and Herzberg.
Making sure people believe in the effort-performance-reward linkage, like expectancy theory says.
And then applying a smart mix of financial tools, non-financial recognition, and tactical things like contests used carefully to channel that internal drive people already have.
That sums it up well.
Yeah.
But I want to leave you with one final, maybe provocative thought. Motivation, that desire to work hard, is critical, obviously. We've spent this whole time talking about it. But it's only one piece of the puzzle. Motivation is basically useless if the salesperson lacks the ability to actually perform the job well.
So desire needs skill.
Absolutely. Ability comes from good recruiting, good selection, proper training, and having the right aptitude in the first place. You can have the most brilliantly designed motivational program in the world, the best contests, the fairest comp plan. But if you hired the wrong people or failed to train them properly, it won't matter. They'll be highly motivated to fail.
So if your team seems fired up, really wants to succeed, but they're still missing their numbers.
Then you need to look hard at your hiring process and your training programs. Motivation can't fix fundamental gaps in ability. The whole sales management system has to work together.
That's a powerful point to end on. It's all connected. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.